First of all, thanks everyone for the comments and the feedback and the subscriptions. Just amazing. So I really, really appreciate it, and it's so nice to see people say hello from wherever they are in the world. So I'm really humbled. Alright, these catch-up videos. A lot of the work I'm doing is outside. Reason being, I was strictly told by the Geometra to not make any changes to the house or the outhouse, even the barns. So for example, they said if I pull the roof off the barn, even those roofs that are hanging off anyway, somebody from the town hall might say, oh, that's not a barn anymore, and they just literally delete it from the map. So whilst I'm going through all this planning and trying to get the allocation for all the things that exist, the advice was just don't touch them. So until then, there's enough for me to get on with the clearing up anyway, as you've seen. I think when I get to the spring videos, they're going to cover a lot of the questions that I've had in the first few videos. From a previous video, I showed you the tour of the house. This time I'm going to take you into the outhouse, which is where there were a few unwanted guests, but I think I've moved them along safely, or they sorted themselves out, should we say. At the end, I open the well again, I try and measure how deep it is. I do need some help, so appreciate that there's loads out there watching that know a lot more about this than me, so when I get to that bit, yeah, I would really appreciate your help. Hope you enjoy it, and yeah, let me know. I'll read as many comments as I can and try and get back to everyone. Thanks for subscribing, it's amazing. So what do you think of the outhouse? Get an Airbnb in there, or only joking? No. So the plans are knock this down fully. This is about 60 square meters, something like that. So 60, and I should get an allocation extra, 10 or 20% of it. The idea is the allocation of the land of this outhouse is rebuilt into, well, that's where the plans are. It was going to be a big extension. It might be a separate building. It might be in a different part of the land. Loads of discussions of how and what I can use it for. And interestingly, there's a bit of a debate about the height. So at the back end, where you'll see it's obviously very low, and the far end, the end near the house, is really high. Somebody thinks they want to take the height from the lowest end. Now, why would I want to extend a house where you could only crawl in and out of it? So obviously there's a lot I don't understand yet. That's where my geometra is coming in handy. Well, I say handy, you got to have a geometra, and he's sort of fighting my corner. Even though there's rules, regulations, building regulations and whatnot, same as any country really. When you come to ask for something, there then seems to be a round of discussions what to agree. Now, importantly here, I've said from the off, I don't want to mess with anything. I want to make it as rustic, as natural as possible. I want to make it look like everything else that's in Italy. I don't think I want to arrive here and expect that I can just build a glass villa or something stupid. So I've promised them any designs will fit into the local architecture. It's beautiful anyway. Rustic tiles on the roof, wooden shutters. Who wouldn't want that? I think there's a concern that, you know, I come in as a foreigner and I'm just going to change everything into an Airbnb, which I'm not. Even though those who are interested in coming to this region, La Marche, they are promoting it. They do want people to convert houses, and I think there's a tax relief if you have guest houses or Airbnbs, but do that research yourself. I only hear this through the grapevine, but I'm not going to change this into a guest house or anything. The plan is just use it for our friends and family and house sitters when I'm not there. Alright, let me pause the video here for a second and just highlight this little beauty. This was hidden deep in the overgrowth of all the brambles. That's a death trap right there. That's why I couldn't go in with machinery or go in guns blazing. Could jump in really, but I can't get it out. It's buried in. So that's the other thing. Can't lift that thing out. Right, so I've opened the well up again, and I went with a high-tech measuring tool, which was a piece of string, a brick and some chicken wire, and dropped it down slowly. So as you see, I'm sort of plumbing it down and didn't feel any resistance, just a real slow drop, and then it stopped. So with my very rough calculations as I pulled it out, I think it's roughly 55 foot deep, which is about 16 meters. So here's where I need the help. Is that deep? Is that good? Is it bad? What is it? And then the next thing is testing. How do you test the water properly? How often do you test it? And, well, will I ever drink it? I'm not quite sure. And will I let my daughters drink it? That's the ultimate test, I suppose. So are there companies that provide tests? And if there's any recommendations, I gladly take them. And then finally, I'm not near this yet, but pumps. I'll look at pumps, and I'll probably get some solar power to the pump, and then move this water to 2 water butts, one halfway up the field, one at the top. And I figure off that I could get some natural irrigation, or some natural water sprinklers for whenever I choose to plant and grow in that part of the land in the future. So I am in the dark here, literally. I did consider sending the GoPro down there with a torch on it just to see what it looks like, but you don't want to get down there and see something you don't want to see, do you? So what do you think? I need some help. I'll take all the tips I can get. I really appreciate that. All right, thanks.